Cool. So quickly we discussed the links, routes, exact, how to use them, the basics of them, and the regex. Now we can discuss nested routing. So what we did here in add.js is we had the /about/FAQ in the add.js, which is like our root app. What if I want to move these routes, all routes about in the about component? We can actually do this. So we can copy this and go to the about and add another route. Just remove this from here. Let's just keep commented. So we have here the /about/FAQ. So we removed it from here. We only have slash and /about/contact. And then in about, we have the /about/FAQ in the about. And then if we go to here, it says route is not defined in source, so I need to import it. So we import the link, and I'm going to import the route as well. FAQ is not defined because I need to import it. It's copy pasting at its best. /FAQ. Cool. So if I go to /about, it renders this about stuff. If I go to /about/FAQ, it does not work. So why doesn't it work? So now it's a nested route. /FAQ. So it's a nested. Okay. Okay, there's something here that I'm missing, but let's discuss something else. So with the props, we can, in React Router, I'm gonna divert from the subject a little bit, then I'm gonna go back to it again. So let's ignore this for a second.
Please open for
Yeah. So I'm gonna check what props are being sent to this component. So now this component is being rendered from the router. So I'm just gonna console log props, and I'm gonna look at everything. So we have the match. So we have history, location, match, and static context. So the history is the history of the page, and you can check the length of it. It's 18 items, and these are the stuff that you see here. You can push and replace stuff and go back in history, and you can go to a certain URL as well. And then we have the location, and this is the information that the React router sends to you about the current route that you're in. So now you can programmatically know that the path name that we are at is /about. So you can get this programmatically. We're not using the hash. I don't know what the search and state, but the state I think is something that you send from another URL. So you can send data between routes. Params are stuff we're going to use in other routes. We're going to use it very soon. IsExact tells you if we're using this route with the exact property or not, and then the URL and the path. So this is the data that is sent to this route. So we can have nested routes, and that's what I wanted to do and didn't work. So to create nested routes, we need to have a better understanding of how the route works. So in the route, we have the component. That's the component that's going to get rendered. Or we can, instead of component, we can have a render. Okay, it needs to be inside the route. So here, let's go to app.js. I diverted a little bit. I'm going to go back to the nesting because I think I did it in the wrong way. So let's create another route. Let's call it path =custom render. and then instead of passing a component, we're going to render something, and then we're going to render dev with something in it. So let's go to custom render. And it did not work. So we have a render is, I think it should be a component like this. Yeah. So it needs to be a component as in the function syntax. So we can just render something directly instead of having a component exported from another file like this. We could just have this thing directly passed to a render if it's something really small. So if it's like a 404, we could have something here called not found. Just very simple. Then we can go to 404. Then we could redirect the user to the 404 page and just render something here very quickly instead of creating the whole page. So this is for the render, so we can use this or that. So this is handy for inline rendering. Expects a function that returns an element, basically a React component. Children props is similar to the render in that it expects a function that returns a React element. However, children gets rendered regardless of whether the path is matched with the location or not. Let's give this a try. So let's see this children test. So it says here this is a prop, has 3 props. So children test. Actually, I've not used this before. So if we go to children test, it renders children test. That makes sense. If I go to slash,
you're supposed to pass like you've been doing before props.children.
yeah, but this is different. This says here it has 3 props. So this is a prop. This is not. It's not the children from React. It's these are the properties that you can send to the route component. So we have the route component. This is our route, and this is their documentation. They say we can send 3 properties or 3 different kind of properties to render stuff using the route. So this is how to use the React router route. We can send a component, and this component will get rendered when the path matches this URL. Or we can send an inline React component that gets rendered directly, or we can send children. The difference between them, the component will only get rendered when the URL is matched. The render is similar to the component, but it's not a component. We have the thing inline. We have the React component inline in the route itself. Instead of referencing something like contact, we just render it directly. Sorry, here. The children, the difference between children and the other two is it will get rendered regardless of whether this route will get matched or not. So here I went to slash, and still it rendered children test. And children test is rendered here. So this should be only rendered if it was rendered. It will not be rendered unless I go to children test. But because it was the children property, and I just got the name from the library itself, then this will always be rendered no matter what.
Okay, so we can have the home page. If we put a slash, what do we get?
It doesn't matter what we're gonna put. If this exists, the children is gonna get rendered.
When would you use that?
I have no idea. That children prop is similar to render. That how children get rendered regardless of whether the path is matched.
Because I see that it's like it overrides everything.
So how about this? How about we use 2 of them? So we use the component. So if you go to children test, we're gonna render, I don't know, the about page. So we're going to render the contact page. So, okay. So I think this is path is matched or not here. So we went to the children test and we said that the component will be contact, and we are there and it rendered the contact. If we go to slash, it did not. I have no idea. That is weird. So why not just type it directly? Just render this. I don't know, my friend. I guess we're gonna figure it out. Well, if you don't need it, just don't use it for now. But yeah, it might has a need in it.
Good to know.
The path is used to identify the portion of the URL that the router should match. It uses the path to regex. Cool. So there's a library called path to regex, and when you type path, this is the thing that matches. And if the router path and location match successfully, an object is created, and we call it the match object. The match object carries more information about the URL and the path. The information is accessible through its properties. So you know now that if a component is rendered through the React router, you get these properties sent to you. And now we know that you get the match, you get the location, or what else did you get? You render this in the out. So we get history, location, and match. So we can just history, location, and match. We're not going to use all of them, but I think we'll use them at some point. So these are the three. Cool. So matched URL is the string that returns the matched portion of the URL. This is particularly useful for building nested links. So if we are in an about now, we can alert the match.url, and that is the URL of the page /about. And if you have nested links, you can do this dynamically. So you can have a link that goes to match.url plus FAQ, for example. Oh, this is not it. So your path could dynamically add to other stuff. You could just get from the page I'm in. I'm just gonna get the URL and I'm gonna add /FAQ to it. I think the whole thing, when you go to, this is the route. So, okay, so I think because now this needs to be built in another way. Cool. So in app.js, we have this route. I think needs to be inside the route, as in it needs to be a child of the route. But let's just follow the thing for now because I'm kind of lost. Cool. So now we know the match, we know the properties that are sent. The switch, if you have multiple routes in the page and you have /products, we know that /products will match two of them. And if you have more than one that could match, they will render inclusively, meaning that they will render every route that matches this URL. So if you have slash, it's going to render only /about will match with about and /about. So if you have something, so it's called ABCDEF. If you have slash, it matches slash. If you have /ABC, then it's going to match slash and /ABC because slash exists in both of them. Then if you have /ABCDE, then it's going to match slash and /ABC because it exists in the other one, and /ABCDE because it exists in the rest. So it's a regex. So you have this /A /AP /AP EO. So when you go to slash, it matches with this only. If you go to slash A includes slash and slash A, so it's gonna render both of them. If you go to slash AB, slash exists, slash A exists, so it's gonna render this, slash AB exists, so it's gonna render this. So it's a regex. If you have a URL, it's gonna try to match each one of them as a list. And we know the exact. So the use of switch, you can use something called switch to grab your routes, and it's going to render only one of them, particularly the first one. So let's give this a try. Let's import switch from here, from their act router DOM, and switch. And let's remove the exact for now and go to slash. So we went to slash and it rendered the home page. I'm gonna go to slash about and it rendered the home page again because slash about matched with slash and slash about. So switch, it only rendered the first one. So the use of it might be useful in other cases, but it's not useful here. So I'm going to return to the other case. Sorry, this should be exact. Now back to normal. Cool. We're going to look at how to send properties or send the properties in a little bit. In nested routing, earlier we created routes for slash category products, and we want something to be slash category choose or slash about FAQ. So we have these, then we're gonna go to the route. Okay, this is a normal home page, and then in category we have the shoe, and then we have the route, which will render this. So this is basically what we did. Okay, let's try to make this work now. So we have the route with the path match.url slash FAQ. Match.url slash FAQ. The colon is to create a prop, but this should render component slash FAQ. I am not sure why it's not working. So the FAQ is rendering this. So match.url slash FAQ. So it's not rendered in the home page. And you go to category. Okay. The problem here is it's not getting to this page at all. So this is not getting registered in the page. You guys know why? It's a mistake I did earlier. So even if we have it like that, slash about slash FAQ, it's still not going to work. Because in the app.js, I have my slash about as an exact root. So when I go to slash about slash FAQ, it does not render this, and it does not go inside, and it does not render this. So slash about slash FAQ does not get registered at all. So if I simply just go there and remove the exact, when I go to slash about slash FAQ, and here exact was not the correct use I wanted, because slash will have nested roots. So I wanted to render even if it's not exact. So here, even if it's slash about slash something else, I still want it to work. And when I go here, And now when I type FAQ, it rendered the about page, then it rendered the /about/FAQ, then I have a nested root. So
with the nested root, we bring all the two pages. The nested one and the one which is nesting it.
sorry, say again?
I see we got the nested root, which is about H, and then about page. We've received them both.
Yeah. So when you went to /about, it rendered the main page, and then it went inside and rendered the JSX normally. But then you registered another root, and this root says if you are in /about/FAQ, you render this. So we could play around with it in another way. So if we have /about/FAQ, and this could be exact, so I don't want anything else other than that. And then if we have /about/location, it's gonna be, if we go to location, I want to render a map, and then instead of component, I'm gonna render something directly. And here I could render, just a dev. And here, let's say, imagine this is a map. So let's move this annoying alert. So I'm in the about page, and I need to add links instead of this stuff. So we have go to the contact page. Go to /about/FAQ, /out/location. But here, location and FAQ are not pages. They are sub-pages or nested roots. They are rendered inside the about. So inside the about page, I could have different stuff being rendered as well. So I have these roots defined here. Just gonna define them at the top. So I have the contact, I have the FAQ, which is gonna go to about FAQ, and then it's gonna render the FAQ at the beginning, because it just replaces this component. If I put it at the end, it's gonna render at the end. And then if I go to location, it's gonna have a location. So now imagine if this page has a header, and then it has two buttons or two tabs. When I click the tab on the left, it renders the FAQ. When I click on the tab on the right, it renders a location or a map. And then you have the same about contacts or the same stuff on the top. And then you can have nested roots. So now the about page could be split in different other pages. But it doesn't affect any other components. So I only change in the stuff in the about page. So I could render multiple stuff in this. You guys get it so far?
Yeah.
Cool. And to make this more generic, you can read this. So you can make this about component. You don't have to have this /about everywhere. You could just read it dynamically from the match.url. So you could do something like match.url /FAQ, and I know that the match URL is /about. So alert again. So now I'm in /about. It rendered the main page, and then it's gonna go and register the rest of the roots, and it's gonna see these roots. I'm not just in /about. I'm in /about/location. Then I'm gonna render this as well. So here you have links to other stuff, so you can have this completely dynamic. But actually, the dynamic part here needs to be in this. So match.url JavaScript, then slash FAQ, and then instead of saying /about/location, it's gonna be, I'm gonna get the match.url /location. So now if I want to change, I change this as well. So if I go back and change the /about to / just say something random, JSX. So if I refresh this, /about/location is not rendered, is not registered anymore. And if I go to /JSX, it's going to render the path that's called JSX. I just change it, and it's going to render the about page. Then when I go to the FAQ, you can see the URL above the DevTools here. And click on it. It registered a dynamic route with the path, whatever path of the component that gets rendered, and then I just add FAQ to it. So here you don't have to hard code everything. So if you know the route, it's going to be /contact. You just read it, and in the about, you know that this is the component that gets rendered when it's about. So you can just get the thing and add whatever you wanted. So this is the nested routing, and you can imagine it. I'm terrible with CSS, but imagine that you have links and the page is split in two, or you have multiple tabs and multiple buttons. When you click on something, it renders. So if you have /projects and you have a list of projects in a row, like horizontally, and you have project 1, project 2, project 3. When you click on project 1, it renders something from project 1. When you click on project 2, it renders something else from project 2. So you can have this working in the page and have the same header and the same content. So all this stuff is going to be rendered in all these subroutes. And then you can have the whole page like that. So you can have right navigation, left navigation, and the center, and then change them based on the subroute that you have in the page. Cool. Guys, it's good so far. Complex stuff. We're not gonna go that deep, but I'm just going through what we can do with the library.
Yeah, I think I've got a little bit of it, only that I'm still confused when you change the pages, you go to app.js and out.js. It's a little bit fast.
Yeah, sorry about that. I always do that. So stop me if I do it too fast. But the idea is I'm just going to go through this stuff, and you can always read the articles. I'm going to send you the links. But the idea is to play around with it now and know what we can do with the library. Then you can read more online and test it yourself. And we're going to do at least 2 hours today of playing around with the library. We're going to render stuff and we're going to see it working live. The other thing I want to show you is how to send properties. You want to go for lunch, or you want to see these properties really quickly?
Yeah, you see the properties.
So we are almost done. So what if we want to send properties to other components, as in, so nested route with path parameters. So yeah, we need the parameters in the path. You set the colon and this. So I want, let's ignore this. Let's have products. Let's have this thing that they created. So let's create get this and let's call it products, projects. Welcome to the project page. Then we're gonna import projects. Projects, and then /projects in the route path equals /projects. We're gonna render the component that is called projects. Cool. And then this project, what if I want to render other projects as well? So what if I have projects /ID? So the ID of the project, so I want this to render, okay, let's change project and name it users. This we're going to play with. So we have users page, and if we go to users, we're going to render a list of users. This is a use case we are going to work with. Or let's just make this users. So this is going to render a list of users. And then I want from this users list, I'm going to click on /user / a dynamic ID. So I'm going to create another route where the path equals /user, not users. This is the rest. And I'm going to expect an ID. And the way you have a param or property, I'm not sure, a parameter, you have a column, write a column, and then the name of this property, then component, then this is going to be the user details. Let's just call it user details. And let's create this. So we have user details and we have list of users. So this renders users list, 1, 2, 3 with links. And then the user details, we're going to expect a property here. So here I'm going to render what render, I'm going to expect the match the params. So I'm going to get the match from this. I return cool. So I'm going to console.log match. So in the users list, imagine I have a list. I'm just going to do it very quickly now. I'm going to have a link or a bunch of links that render dynamically. So I'm going to get the link from the React router DOM. I'm just going to render a link to /user/5. This is going to be dynamic later, but imagine that we have a list of users and we just loop over them and we add /user/the user ID, and we're just, the link is going to be user5, and then we have other stuff, user1. Cool. So, and then this is /users, and users is registered, and when we go to /user/ID, it's going to render the user details. So let's go to /users, and it's not defined, user details, import user details from /user details. And we could also make it simple for us and just have a link to equal /users. Let's call it to users. Yes. And on the home page, link is not defined. I'm going to import link. So in the home page, we render this stuff from the home. So /home works. Actually, could move this to the home page, but it doesn't matter now. So, and then we want to have a link to users. We click on it. We go to users. Then we render hey from the users page. And then we have user 1, 2, and 3. The syntax is terrible. Then we have the users list because we render this everywhere. So I'm going to move this to the home page instead. So supposedly we're going to have a bunch of links like that. So link is not defined in the home page. So I'm going to import link from React router DOM. So now this is in the home page. We click on the link and we get the stuff from the users. So what happened now? I added 2 new routes /users that renders a list of users, and added the route with a parameter called ID /user/ID, and it goes to user details. And then in the list of users, I am displaying this. Just gonna add a PR, another PR. So imagine this is gonna fetch stuff from a JSON server or any APIs, gonna render some stuff. I'm gonna have some links with some images, and one of the links are gonna link to /user/1. So all I want to show you here is that when I click on this, it's going to go to /user/1, and I'm going to get the match that I console logged in the user details with the param ID equal 1. So what happened here is in app.js, I said that /user/id, meaning that anything that will come after the /user is a parameter, is not part of the path, is a parameter. Send it to me with the name ID. So I could continue and say /user/id /posts or /comments /comment ID. And now imagine if we have a URL that complex. Now I go to /user/1 /comments /comment number 5, and now I get the console log, and in the parameters I get the comment ID 5 and the ID 1. So 1 here maps to the colon ID, and this maps to comment ID. And this is the way you write it in the router. And I guess in any other routing library I know of in JavaScript. So whatever is written in this way is translated. So when you do this, it gets translated or saved to you and sent with the variable name you want. So in the future, when we have a list of users, this is how we're going to register user ID. So you can have dynamic users. And then the user details, the component is going to render it. It will get it in the match.params. So if we go to this, our match.params.id, you expect the value of the user ID. Then you can go and fetch the data of this user. You can have dynamic routing using this. And this is what we're going to do after the break. We're going to render a list of users, link to one of them, click on it, and expect to see user details, which is something. Hey, so in user details, have them the user details page, user, and then I'm gonna say just match.params.id, and then I know that this is user 1. I can go and start fetching his data. So far, so good.
Are we going to use APIs when we come?
Yes, we're gonna build the whole thing. We're gonna build users. We're gonna click on links. We're gonna have images. We're gonna have post links. We can go as far as we can with the routing. We're gonna build everything from scratch. So you can have products, users, projects. You can have your portfolio built with this, and I would recommend you building it from scratch using the same URLs. There are other stuff with the redirect and the protecting routes, but I think like with this we can get started, and then you can add any more stuff that you want and like keep asking. But I don't want to complicate it too much. It is that simple. Actually, we went like most of the stuff we did today, we might not use today. So this is just to get you going, and then we're gonna use it today for I think hour and a half at least. If you guys wanna go even further than that, we can do it as well. Cool. Do you guys have any questions? Anything confusing? You excited to use it?
No, we for myself, I just want maybe to try it out.
Cool. We're gonna try. But like this is not just React Router. Other routing libraries use the same techniques as well. So you're not just learning one library. You're learning the technique of routing apps. And then you can, if you understand the basics, you can read online about more stuff and how to use other libraries. So we're definitely gonna try today and try routes and rest of the routes and everything. So far, any questions? Anything confusing? Anything I missed?
I guess we will have questions when we try it.
Okay, that's cool. So let's take a break and come back for the exercise.